If you see bags under my eyes, if you're watching on YouTube, no, you don't. You don't see them. I stayed up late, so you didn't have to. Let's talk about a tough loss yesterday in San Diego. Brewers and Padres recap up next.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good morning. It is currently good morning as I sit here and record this. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. This is Locked On Brewers, your only daily podcast dedicated to the Brew Crew all season long. I'm Dominic. I'm the statistician for Bally Sports Wisconsin, bringing you everything you need to know about the Brew Crew, as it is Brewers After Dark, late night crew these last night and tonight, as the Brewers in extra innings fall to the Padres by a final of 3-2 in what was a thoroughly entertaining game that obviously ends in a fashion the Brewers did not wish it to end the way it did. Jose Azocar, with the walk-off single into center field with 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th inning, wins it for the Padres. The Brewers now fall to 26-16. The Padres improved to 28-14. We're going to jump into the line scores here for the Padres. 3 runs on 9 hits, no errors. For the Brewers, 2 runs on 8 hits, no errors. The Brewers left 10 runners on base. They went 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Just not going to get it done with that. The Padres left 12 runners on base. They were 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position. So we're going to talk about this game in a little bit, but a lot to get to on the injury front as more bad news, not only pregame, but during the game yesterday. So let's start with the stuff that came out pregame yesterday. First and foremost, the results are back on Freddie Peralta's MRI for his right shoulder. Remember, he exited the game on Sunday against the Nationals and was pointing to his shoulder. The Brewers noted that it was something going on with his shoulder, and the word is not good stuff. It is a right posterior shoulder strain, so the muscle, the back of the shoulder. And for Freddie, as Craig Counsell put it today, it's going to be a while. And it is a massive, massive blow, to say the least. But they do expect him to pitch again this season, and it does not require surgery. So if you're going to take a silver lining, that's your silver lining, that he is expected to pitch again this year. There is not expected to be a long-term issue with this, and there will not need to be a surgery for Freddie Peralta to be ready to go. So that was some bad news for Freddie. I mean, best case scenario, you're looking at August that he picks up a baseball again, perhaps, and that's maybe even pushing it. I don't know. This is a wait-and-see type scenario, but one thing we do know, Freddie is not going to be in this rotation anytime soon. And they're going to roll with a 5-man rotation for the time being. And there were some other roster moves that have to go with this as well. So no Ethan Small getting called up yet. Could it be imminent? Perhaps. And I'll explain why this could be imminent as well. Another loss that you had pregame was not an injury, but a more serious matter. Josh Hader is currently not with the team. He is on the family emergency list, so he is off the active roster. He has stayed back in Milwaukee as his wife is dealing with an issue with her pregnancy. So we wish them all the best. The Hader family trying to grow right now, and Josh did not feel comfortable leaving. He was available over the weekend against the Nationals. You may recall Josh was not available on Wednesday because he had to leave the team to first attend to his wife on Wednesday. So again, we wish them all the best and for a healthy and full recovery as Josh's wife goes through her pregnancy. So in that regard, that's 2 massive arms if you want to just get back to the baseball. I mean, Freddie Peralta, an all-star starter last year, and then Josh Hader, the best closer in baseball. So it's already a short pitching staff beginning this 11 games in 10 days road trip, which is tough news. So the reinforcements that arrived yesterday were Trevor Kelly and Miguel Sanchez. So those 2 right-handers are available out of the bullpen yesterday. But you have to recall that Perdomo and Suter are not available after both going multiple innings on Sunday in mop-up duty in the blowout against the Nationals. So it really is a short bullpen on top of the fact that you do not have Josh Hader available down there in the bullpen for this series, at least against the Padres. I mentioned Ethan Small a moment ago of what are the Brewers going to do in trying to get him to the roster if he is going to be in the roster. Well, we know Aaron Ashby is going to be starting the finale of this series tomorrow, so Ashby's staying in the rotation for the time being. If they were to bring up Ethan Small, there's another 40-man spot available because Dylan File was outrighted to AAA Nashville. And yes, if you don't recognize the name, it's because Dylan has not pitched in the big leagues this year, but he was on the 40-man roster. Just like we saw the other day with Alec Bettinger to be cleared off the 40-man roster to make room. So right now, 37 guys on the 40-man roster, and with 2 guys on the suspended list. And you're more than halfway through Severino's suspension, the backup catcher who was suspended for PEDs, along with J.C. Mejia, who is also on the suspended list right now. So Pedro Severino won't be eligible until July. Mejia not until late August, early September. So that's where those 2 spots will come in on the 40-man, but there is one available. That's where you'd probably put it for Ethan Small if you do wanted to call him up, because as it stands right now, guys on the 40-man that would be eligible to join the team, I mean, Ethan Small is the first guy that would come to mind, but this isn't about Ethan Small. We're going to talk about other stuff with this team and with this game. Some good news on the injury front. Willy Adames was moving around, performing drills on the field yesterday. The Brewers are hoping he will be ready and his body will respond to be ready on Thursday, which is the first day he is eligible to come off of the injured list from his injured ankle. So that's some good news on the injury front, but now more bad news on the injury front. During this game, and this will lead us into the recap here in a second, but during this game yesterday, Hunter Renfroe tweaked his hamstring scoring from first base on a double. The word from the clubhouse after the game yesterday said that it could be 4 days, it could be 4 weeks. Hunter's not quite yet sure. They're going to get an MRI today and see the extent of his injury. So this is not great timing, to say the least. And on top of all of this, the Brewers are in their busiest stretch of the season. And to have injuries, every team deals with injuries. Okay, this isn't something that you can control. Don't think you can control injuries. And let's be honest, the Brewers have been on a really good run of health, especially on the pitching side of things, the last 2.5 seasons or so. So Freddie Peralta being injured, and now Josh Hader being away from the team. Obviously, Jake Cousins is on the IL. It's going to be a little tough, but hey, look at the calendar. It's May 24th. You got time to figure this kind of stuff out. Let's talk about yesterday's game. It was a thriller. It was a heck of a game. Before we do that, I want to tell you about our friends at BetOnline. Look, they're the number one source for everything you need sports betting-wise. Padres were slightly favored in yesterday's game, but you could have found that out at BetOnline yesterday. You got odds, news, sports developments. You got basketball playoffs rolling on. Another blowout yesterday. This is crazy in the NBA. Baseball scores on there as well. Fights, next season's NFL futures. Hockey's going on right now, postseason play as well. BetOnline is your number one source for everything sports wagering info, live betting, playoffs, esports, and plenty more. You can head to their website today. Again, it's betonline.net, or you can use your phone to get there too. You can learn more about the trends and get in on the action at BetOnline, where the game starts. This was a fun game. The starter for the Padres was Nick Martinez. Adrian Hauser getting the start for the Brewers. And a quick note on Adrian Hauser. We didn't mention this in Monday's podcast, but Adrian Hauser's arbitration hearing has been settled. And Adrian Hauser was, remember, the only player on the Brewers that did not settle for arbitration, that he decided to take it all the way to the arbiter and learn about the process, that he had filed for $3 million for his salary to be this year. And because of the lockout, the arbitration process got pushed into the regular season. And he got the confirmation, he lost his case. The Brewers filed $2.425 million. That is the number deemed. Hauser told Todd Rosiak yesterday, saying it was brutal and crazy way to go about getting paid, but it's the way business is. It's all business at the end of the day. And also, it's time to move on and see what the business brings next year. And David Stearns also had notes on this too, saying this is part of the process. Unfortunately, it's not a good process. We're looking forward to moving forward and having Adrian make big starts for us. I saw Twitter kind of overreacting to this. Look, Everyone wants to avoid arbitration for this exact reason. It's an ugly headline. It's never any fun. It was his first year arbitration eligible. Some agencies and representations say, hey, let's take it to court. Let's see what we got. Let's do it no matter what in our first year of arbitration. And some guys are like, no, just give me the money. Tell me where to sign and move on. And Hauser learned the ugly side of the business where it's not just the Brewers. Every single team has assigned personnel in the front office to say, to rip you to shreds on what every single number that you could ever come up with in arbitration. Say, nope, we're not paying you X amount of dollars for what you did because of X, Y, and Z. And then the player's going to have his representation try to present it. It's an ugly process. But to have that in the back of your mind, getting ready to start against one of the best teams in the National League, the San Diego Padres, kudos to Adrian Hauser. He flushed it out. He did have a very tough first inning. 32 pitches in the first inning was a big key stat in this one because he did go 6 innings. It's another quality start, but you wonder how much longer he could have gone if it wasn't for that 32-pitch first inning. He goes 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run that was earned, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts for Hauser. He gets a no decision in this one. Brewers got on the board first in this game after Hauser escaped that tough first inning, leaving 2 men stranded. Both of his walks came in the first inning, by the way. Brewers responded in the second inning by who else? My man, Tyrone Taylor. Tyrone continuing to grab life by the horns right now. He got the start in center field yesterday. An RBI double with 2 strikes and 2 outs to right center field to score a pair of runs. It was with runners on the corners. The big thing on this, though, as we mentioned a moment ago, Hunter Renfroe actually injured himself trying to score from first, which he did so successfully. He went out and played defense for a couple of innings, and then by the time he came back to the plate, he did not get another AB. Lorenzo Cain emerged from the dugout to pinch hit for Renfroe. So we await the MRI results for Renfroe to see how long he could be out, which means yet again, just as we thought Lorenzo Cain was going to go back to his bench role as the 4th outfielder, looks like he's going to be required moving forward because you're not going to call anybody up to fill this role when you got 4 outfielders already. You look at things now, Yelich will play left, Cain will probably play center, and Taylor will probably play right for the majority of games. Maybe you flash Keston Hiura in left field for the time being. Maybe you flash Tyrone in center and you move Cain around, but Cain's really just so valuable still defensively in center field. So it all depends on the MRI results for Hunter Renfroe. And if you wanted to look down in the minor leagues, if you wanted to bring somebody up, it's not exactly anybody ready to go on the 40-man roster right now. I mean, Corey Ray is technically on the 40-man roster, but I mean, the year has not been great for him. He is the only outfielder, in AAA on the 40-man roster. Everybody else is a little too young because it's just not a position the Brewers thought they were going to need a lot of depth in this year, and as of late, they've needed some depth. And in case you're wondering, Corey Ray, the former first-round pick out of Louisville, this season, Corey, he is hitting 145, so just hasn't worked out for Corey. Back to the game. So it's 2-0 Brewers for the majority of this contest. Hauser lets in a run in the 5th inning, but he gets out of the 6th inning. Another quality start for him. Brad Boxberger gets the 7th inning. And the question was, okay, with Josh Hader out, this bullpen, you go Boxberger got Williams, do you go got Boxberger Williams? But it was clear Boxberger then Williams. But Boxberger has been flat the last couple of outings. He gets the blown save in this one, allowing a pair of walks and no strikeouts for Box. He allows 2 hits and the game-tying run. Box, it's been a weird start to his year, very different from last year. Only 11 strikeouts in his 14 innings. He's been really good when he's on and really bad when he's off, and this was a high-leverage situation that didn't work out for him. For Boxberger, it's the second time in the last 3 outings he's allowed runs. He allowed the 2-run homer to Marcell Ozuna on Tuesday against the Braves. See if this is not a trend here in the first half of the season. Would like to see him get back on track. Trevor Gott, though, threw a scoreless 8th inning to keep things tied 2-2. And then both teams got a 0 in the 9th inning. It was a roller coaster for Devin Williams. He got a pair of strikeouts despite allowing a pair of singles. Leaves the winning run stranded. And then in the bottom of the 10th inning, the Padres win it on the RBI single from Azokar. But the details of this game, we mentioned the runners in scoring position, but the two biggest plays of this game were a series of plays in this game. In the fact that the Brewers twice in yesterday's game had the bases loaded and nobody out. I don't care who you're facing. You got to scratch a run across. You've got to. And Craig Counsell said the same thing afterwards. That's baseball. They were disappointed. The Brewers knew they let the Padres get off the hook twice. The first time they let them get off the hook was back in the fourth inning against the starter, Nick Martinez, as they got the bases loaded with nobody out. A leadoff single by Rowdy Tellez, a walk by Kane when he was pinch hitting for Renfroe, and a walk by Narvaez. Loaded and nobody out for Tyrone Taylor, who just tagged a double the other way. He flies out. It wasn't deep enough to score a run, so he tried to elevate, didn't hit it hard enough. So 0 for 1. Jace Peterson strikes out swinging. That can't happen. Got to put the ball in play. And then finally, Colton Wong grounds out, but it was a great play by Jake Cronenworth, diving to save a run, maybe 2 runs, and keep Wong off the base paths. But 7-pitch at-bat did not go the Brewers' way. They did not score a run with the bases loaded and nobody out. And they did it again in extra innings. So in the top of the 10th inning, placed runner on second, it's Colton Wong. Luis Urias hits a liner to left field, but he hit it too hard to allow Wong to score. So it puts runners on the corners. Christian Yelich draws a walk on 4 pitches. So they're loaded again with nobody out. And the worst possible double play. You would have taken any other double play except for this one. The 1-2-3. McCutchen grounds back to the pitcher. Luis Garcia makes the play. Rowdy Tellez ends up grounding out to end the inning. And at that point, you're thinking, it's over. You know, you can't let that happen twice. You just can't. And the Brewers, to their credit and to Miguel Sanchez's credit, he almost got out of it. So they decided to play some manager ball here. In the bottom of the 10th inning, Jurickson Profar led off. He grounded out to start the inning. But it moves Machado over to third base with the placed runner. 1 out, runner on third. They go for the intentional walk to Eric Hosmer to bring the double play back in order. They weren't walking Myers initially, but then without holding Hosmer on at first, he takes second on the defensive indifference. But with that allowed the Brewers to go for the intentional walk to Will Myers. So they put the game in Ha-Seong Kim's hands with 1 out and the bases loaded. He ends up breaking his bat on a soft line out to Luis Urias. So 2 outs. They're nearly got a chance to get out of it, but Sanchez falls behind 2-1 on Azokar, and he bloops a single into center field, gets the job done to win it for the Padres. Look, you can't expect to get away with bases loaded, nobody out, and not getting a run across twice and survive this game. So the Brewers lacked the timely hit in this one. Only 1 extra base hit for the Brewers in this one, too. The Tyrone Taylor double. He had the only 2 RBIs in this game for the Brewer crew, and again, leaving 10 runners on base. What did we learn from this game? We're going to jump into that, and we're going to preview tonight's contest and some really important notes to come out of this game, too. But before we do that, I want to tell you about one of the best habits you can get going with our friends at AG1 Athletic Greens, something I started taking, and I'm really going to need it tomorrow morning after this late-night podcast. Look, AG1 can bring you gut health. They can bring you energy. It can bring you an overall better nutritional supplement system that's easier to follow for you on a daily basis. Look, it's 1 scoop of just, it looks interesting. It's green in your water, 1 scoop into your water, but you're getting 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods. You got probiotics in there, and you got adaptogens to help you start your day right with a special blend of ingredients. You can get your morning coffee and you can enhance it with this with Athletic Greens. This is what I do when I go caddy. Athletic Greens, coffee, water, and I'm out the door. It's just an easy way to take care of yourself. Your subscription comes with a year's supply of vitamin D, which of course, as we're coming out of wintertime, save it for the wintertime. You need vitamin D in the wintertime out here. So also, on top of that, it's lifestyle friendly. It doesn't matter what diet you're following. Keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free. Doesn't have any GMOs, no nasty chemicals, or artificial anything, and it still tastes good. You can support your sleep quality even with this. You can get mental clarity. You can get better gut and digestive health, all thanks to AG1, and yet it costs you less than $3 a day, investing in your health cheaper than your cold brew habit. They want to make it easy on you to try out Athletic Greens. They can give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/MLB Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Big thing that you're going to be ready for today as Blake Snell and Corbin Burnes get the ball. Corbin Burnes, obviously the ace of the staff, one of the aces in the National League. I have a feeling he's going to look to Chris Hook and to Craig Counsell at some point tomorrow and say, don't worry, guys. I got you. Because this bullpen's going to be short. Obviously, Brent Suter has been used in high-leverage situations, but he's probably available tomorrow. You would think Luis Perdomo is available tomorrow. And with the way things are looking for the bullpen, I don't know if you go with Brad Boxberger in back-to-back games after the way he performed in yesterday's game. And then on top of that, you still won't have Josh Hader. Devin Williams needed to throw a total of 24 high-stress pitches in that bottom of the ninth inning against the Padres. So does he go back-to-back in this one? Boxberger threw 28 pitches. The bullpen could be thin in this one. So Corbin Burnes is going to look to Counts and look to Hook, say, don't worry. You're going to get 8 out of me today. You're going to get 7.5, 7 2/3 out of me today. They need it out of Corbin in today's game against Blake Snell. As the Padres, very good team. Don't get me wrong. 9 hits in yesterday's game. 2 extra base hits. One of them kind of an asterisk on the Trent Grisham one. But they're a team that they're going to fight. They got a ton of foul balls against Adrian Hauser in yesterday's game, too. Kept them in counts. 32-pitch first inning, 99 pitches total for Hauser. The big thing I learned from this game, too, is that Manny Machado is still, even though he goes 0 for 4 with a walk in this game, he is still striking fear into so many pitchers in baseball right now. He's hitting .365. Listen to this slash line right now for Manny Machado. He leads the National League in all 3 of these. His slash line, a .365 batting average, a .440 on base, a .604 slugging, and a .1044 OPS. There have been only 2 times that a third baseman leads his league in his slash line. In the previous 2 times, they won the MVP. You look back to George Brett in 1980, and you also look back to Miguel Cabrera in 2013. The last 2 guys to do it as a third baseman to lead their league in slash line, and Manny Machado is certainly on pace to do that. He still loves to ambush. He's a very dangerous hitter. The hype is real, and he could make a massive impact in the rest of this series. Other stuff we learned about the Brewers right now is the fact is this offense is so feast or famine. The top of the order, Colton Wong 0 for 5. Luis Urias is going to be a massive piece moving forward. He has now reached base in every single game this season. I wonder if Craig Counsell is going to consider moving him into the leadoff spot anytime soon, given he has reached base in all 17 games now. He's got a .408 on-base percentage, an .868 OPS so far this season since returning from the injured list. I wonder if when Willie returns, if he does return on Thursday, do you put Urias leading off, Willie batting second, and then you go Yelich and McCutchen and Tellez and Renfroe, which Renfroe's probably out now, and then you put in Wong in the 6 or 7 spot, ahead or behind of Tyrone Taylor. I wonder if that's going to be in the near future with the way that Huicho has been performing so far this season. So that's another thing I learned about the Brewers. And finally, last thing I learned about the Brewers, specifically the bullpen, Trevor Gott. This dude's made for high leverage. He has been pitching great in high leverage this year for the Brew Crew. A 2.40 ERA now, 15 innings, 18 strikeouts, and only 3 walks. Trevor Gott has been a heck of a find for the scouting department, a heck of a find for the pitching lab to get their hands on him. What a story of development for what he could become. He's this year's Jake Cousins and then some for the Brewers out of their bullpen as the fireman. So tonight, another 8:40 first pitch, so we'll stay up late with you on Bally Sports Wisconsin. Corbin Burnes getting the start against Blake Snell. Blake Snell has been injured a little bit this season. He was placed on the IL earlier this year with a left adductor strain after just 1 start this year. He had made a rehab appearance down in El Paso. Snell, just 1 start, but last year his total numbers 27 games started, 7-6 record, a 4.20 ERA in just 128.2 innings. He has not eclipsed 130 innings other than his Cy Young year in 2018. He's a 5-and-dive type guy. He'll get his strikeouts, and then he'll be out of the game by the 6th inning. So the Brewers will have to take advantage of what you would expect a Padres short bullpen to be. We had to see Taylor Rogers pitch in the game. We saw Tim Hill pitch in the game. Nabil Crismatt pitch in the game. So they used a lot of their main horses in yesterday's game, being such a close game. But to the bullpen's credit, they go 5 shutout innings, only allowed 3 hits, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts against the Brew Crew. So the Padres are a darn good team. By the way, the Cardinals won yesterday. If you want to look at the standings, I personally don't, because I don't care about the standings in May. Talk to me in the trade deadline, but it's a 2-game difference now between first and second place in the Central. Okay, it's bedtime, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I obviously record these after the games and have them ready for you here in your feed in the morning. So thanks for making us your first listen. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Tell your friends that you found a great Brewers podcast that's daily right here in your inbox every single morning. I'm Dominic Cotroneo. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time. Until then, keep on swinging.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.